Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. I'm Jerry Usher, along with Debbie Georgiani and you. And Debbie, I don't know if it feels this way for you or not. It feels like about 2 weeks since we've done a live show. Weekend was kind of long.
It was long. It was. And I just had a heavy heart, for everyone. I know a lot of people that are going through some really uncertain times of what's going to happen in their employment and their work and how they're going to pay bills and even how they're going to stock up for their families for the next, couple weeks, because this end date for us, going into isolation and staying away from people. At first it was 15 days. Now there's some experts saying a few more weeks, a couple months. I mean, it's really, I think it's weighing on people, and it's time for people to talk about it if they feel they want to just have a conversation about if they're uncertain about their employment in the future, if they just got laid off, if something's going on with your work and how you view that, a couple months down the road, maybe you're super, nervous and fearful. We want to talk about it. I think we can help one another at this time. And this was suggested by one of our listeners, Jerry, that said you should open up the phone lines and let people talk who just got some bad news at work.
Well, the phone number is 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986. If you're comfortable, we do want to have a conversation with you. We can all come away with a little bit more information and certainly praying for one another. But as Debbie said, maybe you've been laid off already, lost your job, and fired. I know the government is working on these stimulus packages that would keep people paid, even if they're not actually working right now. So how have you been affected on a professional working career level by what has transpired with the coronavirus situation? 833-288-3986.
Or maybe you know somebody in your neighborhood, like I shared last week that my neighbor across the street was just laid off because he's a teacher recruiter and they don't need that right now, and so now they're worried about their future. And we were in such a booming economy. People were working, people were happy, people were out there spending money, going to restaurants, going on vacations, and now that has all stopped, and everybody's rethinking what's going to happen in the future, and a lot of fear and anxiety tends to creep in during that time. And so, if this is happening to you, or you're even, maybe you're nervous about right now, you do have a job, but you're thinking, is this going to be the day that I get the phone call that says, no more doing your work at home, or however that is, we want to hear from you. We care, and we are worried about you, and we want you to be safe, emotionally and physically and spiritually. So please call in at 833-288-3986.
You could also share with us in the world, how your working situation, if you haven't lost your job, how has it changed? Do you have the great gift of being able to work from home right now? Debbie, a lot of people, you hear all this talk about work from home. Not everybody can work from home. And so it creates a real struggle there for a lot of people. But if you are among the fortunate who still have your job, you're working from home, you can still be productive, and you're still valued by the company, that's a great grace that you have. We'd love to hear you share about that. Again, the number is 833-288-3986.
And sometimes when we talk about things that we're all going through or we're experiencing, or our loved ones, it's happening to our loved ones or our friends, it helps. It helps to heal. It helps to bring hope to others. We can do this together if we lock arms and just support one another in prayer and in conversation. It's very important that we're touching base with those that are in our circle, right? The last thing we want to do is go through months of this and have one of your friends or family members said, hey, how come you never even called during all this? How come you didn't check to see how I was doing? It's very important. We have text messaging all the time. That's a quick way to touch base with our loved ones. But just say, hey, is everything okay? Are you able to work from home? Is your job secure? Let's talk about it. 833-288-3986. That's the number to call. Please call in and share with us what's on your mind during this pandemic. I mean, I'll tell you what, I can't even turn on the news, Jerry. Every time I do, I just get this pit in my stomach. It's just changing rapidly, and people are losing their jobs, and they don't know what to do and how they're going to pay their bills.
Yeah. Well, you've got at least two things going on here. You've got the shutdown of businesses like restaurants and bars and many other places like that, and then you've got the stock market, which has have one up day and then 5 down days. I mean, we're not talking about off a few points, up a few points. I think this morning it's already down 1,000 points, and I don't get concerned about that personally. I have a small amount of money invested with the Knights of Columbus, and they guarantee my money at a very small percentage rate, but at least it's guaranteed to grow. But Debbie, so I'm begging God that things will turn around, and the stock market is such an indication of that. Again, it doesn't benefit me all that much whether it's down or up or whatever, but I see it as a great indicator, Debbie, of whether people are going to have their jobs or not in the coming days and weeks.
Right. I know our president during the briefings has been saying that we can, if we get through this, we can bounce back, okay, and it can be even better. And we have to look ahead. We have to keep that hope, and we have to support one another. I've always said this, Jerry. I think social media, especially Facebook, it can be a blessing and it can be a curse. And I'll tell you, when people are posting some really inspirational things, I say, way to go. Kudos to you guys. But I have to say this. I mean, I'm sorry if it sounds critical. I've seen a couple posts lately where people are saying, hey, look at me. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm stuck at home. I've got a cabinet full of food and look at me. I'm pretty happy in my home. Okay. That to me is very insensitive. It's not cool to be doing stuff like that, because that could push somebody else right over the edge who is worried about even keeping food on the table, a roof over their heads. You know what I'm saying, Jerry? I just think sometimes we can get very insensitive and inconsiderate about where we're at. We don't realize there's people out there around us, right in our own neighborhood, that they're hurting.
Yeah, it's a little bit short-sighted or myopic, and yeah, I agree with you. That definitely does happen. And another angle we could take on this is if you've lost your job, or at least you're temporarily not working, what has that meant for your family? Have you had better family time? Has your family drawn closer together? Have you been able to do things as a family that maybe you couldn't do when mom and dad were running in their directions and kids going to school and all this stuff? Your kids are staying home as well too right now. So let's talk about this. 833-288-3986. We'll start with Melissa when we come back.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
Christ is the wisdom of God, and so we try to develop the mind of Christ, whether we're looking at the bioethics of gene editing, immigration in the United States, abortion at the Supreme Court, or movies in Hollywood. So join me as we look at the news of the world through the lens of Scripture and the teaching of the Catholic Church.
Cresta in the Afternoon with Al Cresta. This afternoon, 4 Eastern on EWTN Radio.
If you're currently an EWTN media missionary or just interested in becoming one, we've got some great news. EWTN Media Missionaries has a new and improved website. EWTNmissionaries.com, designed with you in mind. Our new site is loaded with great features and it's easy to navigate. There are so many different ways that you can help EWTN. Join us in sharing the eternal word with the world. Visit EWTNmissionaries.com today.
Hey, Take Two family, it's here, and we can't wait for you to see what we've created to help you reach your highest potential in life. It's StandTallToday.com, our brand new website loaded with just the things you're looking for. Those include our team of life coaches, resources picked out just for you, our webinars, book club, and more. Whether you're struggling to find your purpose or feel like you have it pretty much figured out, let us help you today at StandTallToday.com. That's StandTallToday.com.
Have you become suddenly jobless, or do you know somebody who just lost their job during this pandemic? We want to hear from you. Please dial in at 833-288-3986. Remember, Take Two is your show. This is where we learn a lot about ourselves and the world around us. Please, folks, this is what I love about EWTN. We have the Rosary on the radio, 5:30 a.m. Eastern Time and 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Holy Rosary, the power of the Most Holy Rosary. Pray it together. Let's storm heaven together at 5:30 a.m. Eastern or 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I do the 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time just to let you know, not that you have to pray along with me and Marty, but you know what? It's just so powerful, Jerry. You know, well, we all feel the Rosary. I mean, it's all about the Rosary. I love the Rosary.
Well, it is, and thanks be to God, we have devotionals and even Mass broadcast on EWTN television and radio, especially during these times. So, folks, go to EWTN.com and find out when the Mass is on, when the Rosary is on, because, yeah, I felt the void again this weekend of not being able to go to Mass, and I know many people have as well. So let's pray that through the intercession of our Blessed Mother, that the Lord Jesus, the King of the world, Eucharistic Jesus, will once again be available to us. Because, Debbie, it doesn't take that long of a period of time before all of a sudden you're drying up spiritually. You know, if we don't pray, if we don't receive the sacraments. So.
Right. And I think you promised, Jerry, that Melissa was up first. I think it was Melissa from Kansas. Melissa, something must have happened. You must have dropped off the line. Please call back, and Ryan will put you at the front of the line. You have something very important to say, and I think the world needs to hear it. So if you yourself have lost a job during this time, or you know somebody, or your loved one, or your spouse, we need to talk about it. And so please call in. All right. This is the time. We opened up the phone lines for you at 833-288-3986. Okay. First up is Warren in Ontario, listening on Sirius XM 130, a first-time listener. So that would probably make you a first-time caller. Hi, Warren.
Welcome. Warren.
Thank you. Yeah, it is a first-time caller. I'm not a Catholic. I bounced on your station. Wow, this is interesting. But I'm a long-haul trucker. And when this crisis, the virus first hit, I told my children, view it as a shot across the bow from God. We're not prepared. And then rather than panic and think, oh, it's the end of the world, which it's not, think, how am I going to be prepared so I don't get caught like this a second time? And how am I going to help you're Catholic, so how are we going to help Catholics, Christians, and everybody so they're more prepared? Because we know another one's coming when this one's solved. So Jesus Christ is warning us. Get ready. That's how I view this. It's not the end of the world.
Well, Warren, thanks for, I hope and pray you're right, brother. And it sounds like, a lot of people are probably sharing your sentiment on that. I mean, it's going to be very, very serious. End of the world, most likely not. But I love your exhortation to all of us to be prepared. I think that's something, Debbie, that we lose track of once in a while. We love our lives. We love having certain luxuries, and we keep a little bit of certain things in reserve. But I don't think we think ahead for something like this that might possibly happen. And I'm just going to bet that it's going to be a long, long time before warehouses are out of toilet paper again.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Warren, you make a very good point. I think this is a time where we do have to prioritize and realize what's important, not live way beyond our means. I was in financial planning way back in the day, and I'll tell you what, so many people live paycheck to paycheck, and I understand that. But this is the thing that really hits home when we have to say what is important to us, okay, and prioritize. God first, and then go in that order. I think it's really, this could be a great opportunity for us to prepare for what you're saying, Warren, if in the future, so that we're better prepared emotionally, physically, spiritually, all in every way, shape, and form. And I think that's what's caught everybody by surprise, because they weren't prepared. We were always hearing, booming economy, everything's going great. And so people were like, wow, this is awesome. What do you think about that, Warren?
Well, I think one of the things we got to prepare spiritually. I agree, and I agree with what you're saying about the economy. But if I've looked into it. If I had actually had 2 months' supply of food in my house and toilet paper and things like that, then I wouldn't be as concerned. I have a daughter that lives in Portland, Oregon, a son that lives way up northern Alberta, Canada, and all over North America. There's nothing I can do to get to them to help them, and I'm in the truck. So if it really got bad, I couldn't even get home. So it's important that you have a little bit of, not just money, because money can disappear. You need food. You need some way to make sure that your family can eat. So if it takes 3 or 4 weeks for everything to settle down again, meaning we get our the stores settled and everything, you can get through without panicking. Being prepared that way will help us. But you've also got to read the Bible every day. I was listening last night. Was the first time I listened. I listened last night to a father. Is that what you call him, a father? And he was talking about different books in the Bible. I've never even heard of these books, And he said you need to read the Bible daily. And I think that's part of it. If we actually did this kind of stuff, like read the Bible daily, did the things that your radio station provides for people, but also prepared so that if we have a crisis like this, remember the Gulf War? I mean, we all thought it was the end of the world then, too, the first Gulf War. Everybody was like almost in a state of panic. There's certain things that we should take and just say, okay, I need food. I need the ability to pay my bills, like you were saying about finances, that you need to be prepared so that if something happens, and even if it's not happening in Canada, but it's happening in another country, I can, without going bankrupt, I could give some food, I could give some of my emergency money, like they did, I don't even remember who it was, but they sent the money and the food to Jerusalem through Paul, the apostle. And they said, here, you guys are having a tough time, we're not. As a body, we need to start thinking this way. I'm a truck driver, so I apologize if it sounds like I'm trying to preach. I'm a truck driver. I'm nothing, right?
No.
But I think we need to prepare. I didn't mean it that way. I mean, like y'all are, like people are educated. I'm not. I got the 4th grade. If the people who were sitting home right now, really in a state of panic, I really feel for them. But there's nothing I can do. I got no food for them. I got no money for them. If I was prepared, then I could help them. If they were prepared, they wouldn't be as panicky. So let's start talking about what are we going to do for the next time when this is solved, when this one's solved.
I think you say a lot, Warren. I mean, this can go in so many ways and very deep. I think what you have to say, I think, is very important for all of us to look at our own lives and our own situation and find out where we're at. Because Jerry and I, since you're a first-time listener, Jerry and I, we're very big into life skills, okay? And we talk about the balance of the life wheel, and that is, there's so many places in our life that we're out of balance, and you can kind of tail off of what you're saying, that it has to do with this idea of being prepared and being ready and being ready to go no matter what hits us. But I'll tell you what, this is why it's really rocked people, because they really weren't maybe completely in balance in their life and in their finances and in their family and in their spirituality, and everything go all the way around the life wheel. And so you're right. I think this is a wake-up call for all of us to say what is important and how are we going to be prepared for the next time, and also prepare our souls, because we're on a journey and it's very important. And Warren, I just want to say, you join a very big, wonderful group of truckers that listen to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We have a wonderful group of truckers. So we hope this is not going to be your first and last time, Warren. So you're kind of inducted into the family.
I really, really like this show. I got to talk. Well, the station. I mean, like I said, do you remember when the grid went down on the East Coast? I was in the East Coast when it down. Everybody was fantastic. Do you remember when the towers came down? I was around when the towers went down. Everybody was fantastic. Nobody thought it was the end of our society. This one has shown us our society is very fragile. That's why nobody's prepared. I'm not trying to criticize governments or anybody. I'm just saying, like, if we look at it and say, hey, God has given us a wake-up call, we are not prepared, then we can grow rather than let this diminish us.
Yes.
And make us feel that God is not strong enough. He's like a pretty strong guy, He's pretty good.
Well, Warren, in all that you're saying, which is absolutely beautiful and articulate about being prepared, we could be as prepared as we possibly could be, and yet in this situation and in previous situations in world history, the tiniest little microscopic organism has almost brought us to has brought us to our knees right now. So it's hard to prepare for things like that, but that makes it all the more important that we have supplies of things, that our supply chains are ones that we can depend upon and things like that. So, Debbie, we're learning a lot of valuable lessons here. We all hope and pray we come out of this better, but I hope we don't go back into sort of a complacency.
Slumber. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, slumber. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great call, Warren. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Warren. You can call anytime. We just thank you so very, very much for your contribution today to this conversation, and be safe on the roads, and thank you for the work that you do. Okay.
I appreciate it. God bless. Bye now.
Thank you, Warren. Thank you so much. Jerry, I missed it. It went right over my head. You were talking something about stocking of stuff. What did you mean by that? I really wasn't listening to you. I'm so sorry. I was writing down notes.
Well, I think what I was saying is I think it's always prudent to have a reasonable supply of food and toilet paper and things like Warren was talking about, not hoarding. What's really kind of sick to me is during this whole crisis, we see people hoarding stuff. And, but at the same time, we're seeing so many families helping other families, individuals helping other individuals. But I was simply saying that I don't know that it's even possible to prepare for something as, like a tiny little microscopic organism that has such great power to just cut us at our knees and take lives like this is. So.
Right. But, when people get desperate, they will do desperate things. And it's just it's a human kind of condition. And that's why we've got to support one another so people don't get to that place. If you would like to call in, if you're suddenly jobless, if you have some thoughts on this, insights about what's happening during this pandemic, how others can get prepared, and maybe some words of wisdom like Warren just shared, please call in. And one more shout out to Melissa in Kansas. You were first up. You had a very good take on this. If you want to call back, Melissa, Ryan will put you to the head of the line. You're from Kansas, so please, we'd love to hear from you if you're able to do that. Don is up next in Marion, Ohio, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Don. Welcome.
Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfectly.
Fine. I want to start off by saying what a great time to be alive when the smallest thing you can do for a person means so much to them. So any small thing you can do can be really helpful. I have found out that you have to become creative in order to help some people, because a lot of people that are laid off, they don't want help, they don't want charity. And with all the food banks closing and hard to get to it, it's so easy to help people. But like I said, you have to be creative. And what I did, and I had a fellow that was in need, and I knew that. And I just stopped over and I said, hey, listen, I had somebody call this order in. They, for some reason or another, weren't able to pick it up, and I can't sell it. I can't do anything with it. Would you like to have it? So I gave them, meat and cheese to help them out. But there are just so many things and so many easy things that people can do, and just a small thing that really makes a person feel good about life and helping people and what have you. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. What a great time to be alive.
What a great time to be alive indeed. We are living in a time of tremendous opportunity. The people of the world have been sort of groping and wandering for a very, very long time. And now perhaps this is awakened within people, that need for finding something, a higher meaning in their lives and higher, like a spiritual, like God. Just put it that way, like God.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, and also, was it St. Teresa of Calcutta, Debbie, you said do little things with great love, or was that St. Therese, little flower?
It was St. Teresa of Calcutta. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is a chance for us to, no matter what it is, if you just, the Bible, Jesus says in the Bible, if you give someone a little glass of water, in my name, I'm paraphrasing now, but you remember the passage. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to be grandiose things. We have people, we need to accomplish grandiose things. The researchers, the doctors, those who are searching for vaccines, treatments, and so forth. We need them to do the big things. What we need to do now on our level, Debbie and Don, is to do the little things that are going to help people get by, raise their spirits during this time when it's just so easy to feel beaten down.
Right. Raise their spirits. I love how you said that, Jerry. So powerful. That's the thing, Don, is that I'm noticing, and listen, I'm not trying to criticize or to chastise or to admonish anybody. I'm just saying, on social media, there's things that are raising people's spirits, and then there's things that are really dragging people down. And that's not a good thing. Don, hang on with us, will you? You hear that music? When we come back, let's pick up this conversation about being jobless during this pandemic. We want to hear from you. Call in.
This is Father Wade Menezes from the Fathers of Mercy and Open Line Tuesday. Join me for the novena for those affected by the coronavirus, Before the Rosary with Father Benedict Groeschel, tonight, 9:30 Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Hi, I'm Doug Keck, and this is an EWTN Bookmark Brief, speaking with Jimmy Akin moments ago about his book. The Bible is a Catholic book published by our friends at Catholic Answers and available through our EWTN Religious Catalog. Jimmy, tell us, what is this book about? Why did you write it?
I respected the Bible, I accepted the Bible, but I didn't really know how we got the Bible. And that's a fascinating story there. Most people don't know it. They hear the Bible read at Mass every week or every day. But how did we get it? That's a really intriguing question. And so I wrote this book in an easy, accessible way so that everybody can find out the amazing story of how God gave us the Bible and the crucial role that the Catholic Church played in it.
Jimmy Akin from Catholic Answers, again available through our religious catalog, EWTNRC.com. Look for the entire interview coming soon on the network. I'm Doug Keck. This has been a Bookmark Brief. Thanks for stopping by, and we shall see you next time. Thanks.
St. Hildegard of Bingen was a mystic, an abbess, a botanist, a saint, and a doctor of the Church.
Matthew Bunsen and the Doctors of the Church.
Hildegard had her first visions at the age of 3, which she called the shade of the living light. She later wrote about them in works declared by St. Bernard of Clairvaux to be from God. Pope Benedict XVI agreed when he named her only one of 4 doctors of the Church who are women in 2012.
For more about the Doctors of the Church, visit doctorsofthechurch.com.
This is Dr. David Anders. Does the problem of evil keep you from believing in God?
Join us for Call to Communion today at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Now, back to Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie.
We're having a great conversation here on Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie. And we actually, the title of our talk today was going to be about those that got laid off, but it's kind of transitioning into other things, maybe some helpful, insights about what's happening with this pandemic. But we were talking with Don in Ohio, and I just wanted to finish up real quickly, if I may, Jerry. And I was just saying about Facebook again. I'm harping on it only because everybody is glued to the TV set or on social media because that's where they're getting their information. Okay, folks, please, I'm telling you this just because I heard it from somebody who I trust, who said it really hurt their spirit. People are posting pictures of themselves at home, eating a ton of food on the couch, and they're having pictures of just crates of food and toilet paper behind them saying, "Look at me, poor me, I'm stuck at home." That doesn't help. That doesn't help. And it really can push people over the edge. It can make people really upset and anxious. It's not funny and it's not cool. I think it's really classless in a way, because I just think it's hurtful. I understand the point. You're trying to maybe, say, okay, lighten up, let's lighten up. But people are really hurting right now. I have to just say that, Jerry, because a friend of mine called me and said, "Are you seeing what's on Facebook?" And I did. And I actually looked and I scrolled down and I was just appalled. And it's just not funny. I mean, we all can take pictures of our home, with stocked cabinets. We can all do that, but that's just not a good time to do right now.
Right. Yeah, and Don also mentioned getting creative at a time like this, and I'm always blessed, Debbie, when I hear about companies that are getting creative, that doing things that help them keep their employees on the payroll, and of course, so many restaurants. Isn't it beautiful to see them serving food? I know a lot of them are selling it for takeout, but in the initial days of this real deep part of this crisis, Debbie, a lot of restaurants were just saying, we're just going to cook meals. Whoever wants them, come and get them. And
right.
so, the human spirit is very, very strong, and I think we're gonna see a brighter day at the other side of this.
Well, you made me think about the distilleries around the country that have turned from making alcohol for consumption to making hand sanitizer and giving it away in droves because they have the process that they can make the recipe to make hand sanitizer. Isn't that interesting? So they're in the business of making alcohol, which, let's face it, is not good for the body, although, people do take part in it. I understand that. But it's not great for the body. It does, not such good things. And now they switch to helping somebody stay alive with what they're able to do. Isn't that interesting, Jerry?
It is. Yeah, to see them switching on the fly, car makers, manufacturers are switching too. So it's edifying. It's edifying to see, dear friends. We know that members of the Take Two family, you are doing all that you can as well. We can be sure about that. Beth and Jean, just one quick second. I wanted to read an email from Friday. And this is from one of our regular listeners, and God bless her heart. She had called in a few days before that, sometime before that, to ask us to pray for a young boy named Jason, 10-year-old boy. I believe he had a brain tumor or something. I may be forgetting what the ailment was. But we got the news that he did pass away, Debbie, at 6 a.m. on Friday. So Take Two family, let's storm heaven on behalf of beautiful little 10-year-old Jason, who has passed away last Friday.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, and before you send me any emails, okay, I know that Jesus turned the water into wine at weddings, at the wedding feast. I get it. So I'm not totally against drinking a nice glass of wine or something like that. I'm just saying, where I'm going with it. So just know my come from on this. Okay, Beth in Mobile, Alabama, listening on the EWTN app. Thank you, Beth, for waiting, and welcome.
Hey, Jerry and Debbie. I usually listen to you at work. On my phone, I usually send Facebook messages and stuff like that. But I'm home right now for just about 2 weeks. I work at the University of South Alabama. I'm one of the many custodial workers out there. And we are now doing shifts about 8 to 10 people to clean up after the essential workers, since the non-essential workers and all the students are home right now. And I just wanted to give a shout out to all custodial workers in schools and hospitals and daycares and elderly people's homes, that keep everything clean and disinfected and deodorized, and prayers for them too. So,
yeah, I've got a thought, Debbie, if you want me to go. Thank you, Beth, first of all, for what you do. And we cannot lose sight of the fact that we are trying to protect certain people, especially the vulnerable. But who is it that's protecting them? Okay, they've got the protective gear on and their masks and their ventilators and so forth. But it takes human beings to treat them and to do the cleaning up after certain things. And so, Beth, I know Debbie will join me in a huge thank you for what you do. In fact, Debbie knows how very much I actually love custodial workers, because as I travel, I go through airports and I see the shabby way that they get treated, like in the men's room. Guys just drop the paper towel on the floor. They don't care. If a janitor's in the way and they need to get to a urinal or something, they'll just elbow them out of the way. And I'm thinking, they're just treating them like third-class citizens, and it really does bother me. So I'm not going to brag about myself, but Debbie, I've told you, I think I'll give them a $5 bill, a $10 bill, and say thank you so much for what you're doing. And it just they have that look on their face like, oh my gosh, somebody actually notices and appreciates it. Right. So again, I'm not bragging on myself, but I'm saying it's an industry that I think is often not treated with great respect.
Overlooked and definitely mistreated. And Beth, I agree with Jerry. We both feel the exact same way. I know where Jerry's heart is on this. We're constantly thanking those that are doing the hard work to make our lives easier and cleaner. And I just want to say, Beth, you guys are on the front lines there. Okay, you're trying to sanitize things, clean things. You're possibly being exposed yourself. It's a dangerous situation for anybody coming in contact, because they say it could live on surfaces for 3 hours to sometimes 3 days. So I just want to say, on behalf of, I'm going to say it on behalf of everybody here at EWTN, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the work you do, and for all of people in your line of work who are going out there and continually doing a fine job at making our lives safer, not only cleaner, but safer. So thank you, Beth. Anything else you want to share?
Yeah, in response to Jerry's thing about the men's bathrooms, I've been out there for about 22 years, and I can't even count the number of toilets and urinals I've cleaned. But I haven't really had much of a problem for the students being rude or anything. I did have one situation where I was actually cleaning. It wasn't in the men's room, and this guy was going to use the urinal, and I told him to get out. And I asked him, do you use the bathroom in front of your mother when she's cleaning the bathroom at your house? And he looked at me kind of saying, I'm your mother's age. If you're not going to use the bathroom in front of your mother, you don't use the bathroom in front of mine. That's what I said.
Good for you, Beth.
That's a great point. Yeah, and my example, Beth, was, I'm sure it's probably better where you work, but my example was more in airports. And, you can give people in airports a little bit of a pass because, they're in a hurry. They got to get somewhere. Sometimes it's inadvertent that they drop stuff on the floor. But anyway, again, Beth, thank you so much for what you do, especially at a time like this. You are on the front lines in this battle in a very real way. Thank you, Beth, from Mobile. We appreciate it.
And stay safe, Beth. Yeah. Stay safe, okay?
I will. Thank you.
All right.
God
bless you. Bye. Full phone lines here at Take Two. I just wanted to say, Rich Jesse just typed in and said, we have an amazing custodial staff here at the headquarters of EWTN, and he just wanted to say kudos to everybody and thank them for the work that they do to keep everything clean and safe for all of us. It's an amazing work right now. When you think about it, this is the work that custodial folks are doing could potentially save our lives. Think about that, Jerry. I mean, this is heavy work. And our nurses and doctors and first responders, please let's pray for them. I watched a program last night that was just, oh my goodness, my heart was aching for them. I mean, they are really putting themselves out there. Some are sleeping in their garages because they don't want to infect their families in case they're carrying the virus. How sad, Jerry.
Well, we'll continue along with your takes on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Jean is next in Andover, Massachusetts, listening to us on the Station of the Cross, and a first-time caller. Hi, Jean. Welcome to the program.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm looking at this whole thing as, and I try to remember in biblical terms when people were evil and punishments and plagues and things really affected the evil people. But when people turned to God, things got a lot better. I'm looking at this as we're really missing the whole point. God is in charge, and I look at abortion as such an evil. It infuriates me to the point where I get so aggravated. But the abortion issue is such an evil thing that I really think that God is allowing this to happen. And it's a wake-up call.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts?
First of all, is it Jean or Jeannie? I just want to make sure.
Jean.
Okay. Jerry, do you want to comment first? And did you want to?
Well, I think there's no doubt that things can be connected in a lot of different ways. We know from, I believe it's the book of Romans, talks about all creation groans in anticipation of its redemption. I'm paraphrasing very poorly. But see, all of creation is one whole. It's all united, mankind, humanity, and the non-human created world. And so there are absolutely spiritual elements to what's going on, actually demonic elements that's going on. And quite frankly, Debbie, there's been times in the past, and this may be one of them, when God is saying,
hello?
But he sees it coming. He allows it to happen, hopefully to have a correcting effect on us in our relationship with him.
Okay, do me one favor. Will you just rewind about 10 seconds and say that sentence again, because you cut out for a second?
I don't know which sentence it was.
Well, you always say such wise words.
I was talking about how creation is all united.
Okay.
And in the book of Romans, it talks about creation, cries out, waiting for its redemption. And I may be paraphrasing that badly, but
No.
when human beings, who are the crown jewel of God's creation, if we not only allow these things to happen, but actually perpetrate these things as well, there is going to come a time when creation is going to rise up and rebel. God may allow these things for corrective means. And so I think that we can't discount that spiritual element to what's going on at all.
Right. And Jean, I would just comment too that one thing I did learn on social media is that some of the states are closing down the abortion clinics. And so that I looked up to the heavens and said, thank you, God. At least, we're going to buy some time for these babies. And so do I think that God uses things for our good? Absolutely. Absolutely. He's constantly drawing us in and giving us the opportunity to grow closer to him, to show that we love him, that we trust him, that we have faith in him. Yes, I do believe. Do I think, some people say, well, God made this happen. It was a chastisement or something. I don't know about that. And I try not to get into that, because that it starts to make people very uneasy. What I do is focus on what is the outcome of this, and how are we going to learn and grow, and are we going to get closer to God, or are we just going to temporarily lean on God, and then as soon as everybody goes, coast is clear, everything's great, we go back to our lives and back to the beaches and back to the restaurants and back to spending money and back to just being in our own bubble. What do you think, Jean? Are we kind of saying the same thing?
Yeah, you know what? You're saying exactly what I would have said if you hadn't, because I'm thinking of 9/11. Was it 2 weeks? People were flocking to church. And it didn't take too much time after that it went back to the same old way, which is still empty churches, which is sad. And I had, I'm an advocate of the unborn. I'm an advocate for the most innocent of God's creation, and I just cannot fathom anybody with a decency would even think about doing that. So it just makes me cringe to think that something like that is in existence today, and the excuses, the lame excuses people use to justify that as a right thing to do. So you can pray for me, because I'm trying every opportunity I have. I'm not silent anymore. I'm explaining that we have in this world. It's like a deep wound that is in our body, and if you don't get to the root of this wound and continue to put Band-Aids on it, it will never heal. So I'm speaking out. God is my boss. I work for him, and I will not be silent. So that's why I decided to call today, because I just wanted to add that element of God being in charge, and is there any connection to why he's allowing this to happen? And I look at abortion as one of those things.
Well, I think it was Jerry's sister-in-law who posted on Facebook, Anita. She's so wonderful. She was talking about how, if the abortion clinics would close down, which I know so many of them have now, we will possibly be saving so many more babies than the lives that were lost through this pandemic. So, it's very interesting. A life is a life, okay? And it's very interesting when you look at this. This is an interesting dynamic here. Jerry, you had a passage you were going to share with us.
Well, the passage I was paraphrasing and butchering pretty badly it's in Romans chapter 8, 18 and 18 through 21. It says, St. Paul writes, I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. Verse 19. For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. For the creation was subjected to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be liberated from its bondage to decay and brought into the freedom and glory of the children of God. So there we see a great example of, I believe, unless I'm way off base, we see a great example of the connection between humanity and the rest of creation, and our actions, our behaviors, our choices are ultimately, in some way or another, going to affect creation. So maybe that's part of this. I don't know.
Interesting. Jean, thank you so much. Keep on keeping on. We'll be praying for you. Please pray for us. And thank you for gracing this conversation today. And be safe and stay well. Jerry is up next in Houston, Texas on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Jerry. Thanks for waiting and welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, I was just calling in to say that I just retired. I'm 62 and have been in healthcare, working as a surgical oncology physician assistant. And my husband is working from home now, so of course, we're trying to stay informed and connected to people we care about, and stay informed about what's happening and how to be safe. Well, I was just responding to something you said earlier, Debbie, that Facebook, can be such a positive tool, and I'm really disappointed at some of the people that are my friends and my, friends of maybe my son that I'm friends with, and they still want to get on there and bash their governor or bash our president, and their response to the crisis and what they're doing, and make it political, and just promote their political agenda because they see the presidential race upcoming and they want to turn things over. And it's so sad. If anyone says anything, like even ask a question of the person who makes the bad comment about the president, other people jump on them and say, hey, this is her page, she can say whatever she wants to, and it's just discouraging because at this time I would like to see people thinking about, what can I do to make things better for our family, someone else, our neighbor, whatever, and not jumping, disparaging other people and putting them down to achieve some goal of your own. I'm so tired of that.
Well, I agree with you, Jerry, in the sense that I think, words are very powerful. We know that from Scripture, and they can be life-giving, or they can be very destructive. They can be words of death, and they can divide us. They can create wounds that are so hard to heal. And I just caution people when they're going out there on Facebook. It really troubles me. I have over 4,100 friends or something, quote unquote friends. And I'll tell you what, I'm seeing things come across and I'm thinking you'll get one inspirational quote that's positive and uplifting. And then you'll get all these, things of people's own agenda and the things they want to rant about. And it's just, it's really, I think, going to mess with people's heads. And, we're going to get through this pandemic. We'll get through it. Humanity is strong. We will come together. We will be able to, I believe we will be able to fight this and get through it. But what's going to happen afterwards? Are we going to be so torn apart, even further apart than we were before this? This is not good. We need to come together as a body, and especially those of us, baptized. We are the mystical body of Christ. And it's important that we are showing up strong and in a healthy, wholesome way, and not be part that is tearing it down. And I so agree with you, Jerry. I think it's very destructive. And as a matter of fact, I won't even go on anymore. I'm done. I can't do it. Jerry, what do you think?
I could not agree more because it's funny. I woke up in the middle of the night last night, and I get Twitter notifications and Facebook notifications, and I got to thinking, I wonder how long it's been since I was active on social media. I know it's been a few months. Debbie, it's been almost a year since I was active on social media because I got tired of it being just this wasteland of just garbage in so many instances.
It's garbage.
And, people can hide behind their profiles. And I think social media, to a large extent, have made experts out of everybody. Now that people have a global platform, all of a sudden they know everything. Their opinion is gospel, and they can do a lot of harm, can do a lot of good as well. So I don't know if or when I'm going to get back on social media.
Well, I will tell you, if those of you happen to message me and want to be a friend on Facebook, all of my posts are inspirational, and I've had a lot of people comment privately, and they said, "Thank you, Deb, for constantly putting things up that are going to help us and move us along that spiritual journey." That's my personal agenda. I want everybody to fall in love with God, fall and fix their eyes on Jesus. That's what I want. If you call that my agenda, I think it's a gift because I just know what I know, and I want others to experience that. And so my Facebook is like that. I don't use Facebook to try to divide. That's not a good thing. Jerry, thank you so much, and thank you for sharing today. Jerry, where are we going next?
We're going to go to James. James in
okay.
Abbeville, Louisiana, listening on Sirius XM 130, and a first-time caller to take two. Hi, James. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. I heard earlier the message about the 10-year-old boy that passed away with the brain tumor.
Yes.
And it struck me. We had this young boy 2 years ago, Sawyer Allums, 10 years old, developed a real bad headache one Sunday, went to the hospital, and 8 days later he was dead with a brain tumor. And the day after his funeral, the neighbor had a petition box in her yard, and she opened it. And they had two messages in it from Sawyer. One was a crucifix, a drawing of a crucifix, and he said, "From Sawyer Allums to God and Jesus and the people." And he had another one folded up, and it said, "Pray for our minds, our souls, and our hearts. It's one of the best things you can do."
Wow.
Love, Sawyer Allums, to Jesus and God.
Wow.
He died on January 24th, 2018. And he brought our community together. It was unbelievable.
That is absolutely beautiful.
I knew him through. I knew him through. I had twin grandsons. They were 10 years old at the time. They were best friends. They were neighbors. And they really took it hard. But Sawyer's message was, pray for our minds, our souls, and our hearts. It's one of the best things you can do. Love, Sawyer Allums, to Jesus, in parentheses, God.
Yeah, James, this just sounds like so many of the young saints that we know in the church. There were, child saints who had an amazing level of spirituality and very sensitive souls, sensitive to the Holy Spirit. And Debbie, you don't often hear these kinds of words coming from the mouth, or in this case, the pen or pencil of a 10-year-old boy. And I can't help but think that this brought great comfort and consolation, James, to your grandsons who were clearly hurt by this situation. And Debbie, maybe he said it brought the community together. Mm-hmm. What a beautiful, beautiful story.
Yeah, we're so sorry that he left this world so early, James. But I'll tell you, I've worked with kids for many years, and they have a strong connection to God. They get it because they haven't been tarnished by this world. And I think maybe, James, your call was the perfect ending to this conversation. We have to get back to that view, that real pure view of God and our understanding of how we relate to God. So, James, thank you so much. John and the others, sorry we're not going to get to you. You're always welcome to call back. We're going to be doing, I think, Unscripted on Friday, Jerry?
Yeah. Friday's Unscripted. You can call about anything. And tomorrow, I think a good time right now during the crisis that we're all experiencing and living through, how grateful are you for your faith? Debbie, that's what we're doing tomorrow.
Okay, so until then, folks, stay safe, be well, and have a beautiful and blessed day. We'll see you real soon.